Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's a crazy world, and we're going to talk about where tech companies, pop culture, entertainment companies, where they kind of stand with the political situation right now. And a lot of them are avoiding getting into politics because there has been in the past backlash, I think, from consumers who either didn't agree with the politics the companies were espousing, or they just didn't want politics intermingled with their technology and entertainment. And anyway, we've got workers in tech now demanding that their CEOs come out and condemn ICE and all of that. And a lot of these companies were very quick to jump on to the BLM stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the ones, they're not saying anything, but they were always really fast to engage before. And I want to make sure I put this out. We are not a political channel, so we're not going to talk about the political sides either way. We're not going to tell you what to think. That's up to you to make your decision about that. This isn't about whether you like or don't like ICE. This is about the fact that these tech company people are doing what they usually do, and they're trying desperately to get their CEOs to go out there and get in the middle and get the company embroiled in yet another political situation. And it doesn't seem like they're too keen on doing that.
No, and that is what's surprising, because this it does remind me of the situation with BLM, where they were guilting companies like, you need to say something, you need to post the right number of squares on Instagram. If you don't post the right number of black squares on Instagram, you don't stand in solidarity. And I think these companies have learned the hard way that when they overstep and they get into politics, if they're not overtly political, now if it's like a news organization or something like that, obviously you're going to get into it. But if it's just a run-of-the-mill tech company providing services to everyone, they get into the politics, they risk, losing a lot of customers and just getting into a lot of controversy and losing in the long run. See also Disney with getting involved with the Don't Say Gay.
Yeah, it's just like it's not the company's job to tell you. And if they're like tech companies stuff, how long do they demand that their CEOs turn off phones for people they think support or don't support? It's funny because like there's people that are being chased around like the cities and stuff right now because they have a car that people think is ICE, and even if they aren't, they're like, it's insane to me. And these people are going to be like demanding, well, you're going to need to turn it off on these people that support it, and people could be caught in it that don't even support it just because they think they do.
Yeah,
it's insane.
yeah.
And it's not the company's job or their job to say, hey, half our customers aren't allowed to be here anymore because, we don't agree with them. It's really stupid. And we've talked about this before, and it's bit companies in the ass so many times that it seems like the companies are starting to be like, yeah, I know, we're staying out of it. Like they should.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this, because, look, the world is always in some state of chaos. It doesn't matter what decade we're in, what time, and historically, most companies stayed out of it, but it's only been the last 10 years has been an expectation that they get political, because I think a lot of employees confuse their employer for
and only
their
political
family.
if it's one side.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
And this is what happens when you hire a bunch of activists to work for your company. They have expectations of the company to also get involved in that activism. If that is not part of their, company policy, obviously you work for Ben and Jerry's, you're going to, do an activism.
Yeah, but that's different because they've been upfront about it since the beginning.
Right.
Like you said, company policy. And it's like, I don't need different brands to tell me what to think or how to vote. I just need your brand to work and be something that I like, that I would support. I don't need you to tell me politically how to think.
Right. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
We'll go out to Axios here. So yeah, tech workers are urging their CEOs to condemn ICE. And again, if the CEOs on their own feel they need to say something, and some of them have, then that's one thing. But to demand that your employer address the situation is, I think, it's overstepping, and two, I think it's going to put a huge target on you next time there are layoffs.
Yeah.
They're like, hey.
Especially if you're insufferable about it.
Especially if you're insufferable. So it said, Silicon Valley has shifted rightward this term as many embrace Trump's pro-AI growth and economics policies. I was very surprised to see Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg at the inauguration. Let me, you know, I was very surprised given the way things have gone. More than 450 tech workers from companies including Google, Salesforce, Meta, OpenAI, and Amazon have signed a letter urging CEOs to contact the White House, demand that ICE leave cities, and cancel all company contracts with ICE.
Okay, well, if there's a lot of money for the company that's paying your salary, if they cancel those contracts, that might mean your job's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. You might get what you want. You know, it might be a monkey's paw situation. Like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So our revenue's down to about half of what it was. But you know, there we go. So this is the letter, I guess. Tech demands.
Oh, there's actually
ICE.
a letter.
Yes.
Oh, and of course they all sign it like, you know, anonymous.
Yeah, I don't know if they have their names on here.
A lot. I was reading on them, and they said a lot of it was anonymous.
So this is of course, you know, the killing of Alex Preddy, and that's a whole thing. Like, look,
yeah, we're not going to talk about.
We're not going to get into the specifics, but you know, you're allowed to feel how you want to feel. What we're talking about. We're not going to
tell you how to think or feel.
What we're talking about is working for a company that wants to remain apolitical and demanding that they get involved in politics if they do not want to get involved.
And I don't think companies should be involved in politics because it's not a good look, because you're always going to have half of your customer base be mad at you. You're better to stay the hell out of it.
Today, we're calling on our CEOs to pick up the phone, call the White House, and demand that ICE leave our cities, cancel all company contracts with ICE, speak out publicly against ICE violence. We want to be proud that we work in tech. We want to be proud of the companies we work for.
Well, tech has nothing to do with it. We want to be proud we work in tech. Well, no one's telling you can't be proud you work in tech. I mean, unless you're worried that half the people that work at your company are going to get rounded up. I don't understand. And let's be honest here. I'm going to say it. I'm saying it. That's what it sounds like. Because the ICE being in cities has nothing to do with your job.
No. Now, Spotify is not running ads for that. I didn't even know they were running recruitment ads.
I don't listen to Spotify, so I have no idea.
I didn't even know they were doing that. Now, they got in trouble, I remember, because they were trying to demand, Spotify workers are trying to demand that they get rid of Joe Rogan. And I'm like, Joe Rogan is paying your salaries. Like, he's the biggest podcaster in the world, and he's at the time was Spotify exclusive, and they were like, you need to get rid of Joe Rogan. I'm like, and replace that revenue with what? Because
exactly. Well, they're saying here that the government ads aren't running because the campaign's over, not because they took them off. They said that they ran them and they're mad, but they didn't violate advertising policies. So we can't. It's like, because here's the thing: they want you to make up violations that remove things they don't like. So they're not, just make up something and take it off. But the thing is, if they do that, or if they remove things that don't violate policy, one, they're open to lawsuits, and two, they're going to be open to, them going to demand it too for everything they don't like. And you have to have some guidelines. And if it doesn't violate guidelines, then it's not going to violate a guideline. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry to say that. Even things I don't like, if they're not violating guidelines, who cares? I mean, I don't listen to the Spotify stuff anyway, but.
Well, the CEO got into it because they didn't like his investments. He had defense investments, I guess.
Wait, they were looking at his personal investments?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is what these people do. This is the problem. It's like you're taking it too far. You are allowed to protest it on your own time. You're allowed to say, hey, I don't like this. You're allowed to feel how you want to feel. You don't get to tell everybody else what they can and can't invest in. Because, you work for the company and they run a company. And that's their personal investment. You don't get to tell them that. And
then I know, it was Neil Young and Joni Mitchell left because they did not like Joe Rogan. And they said Rogan was spreading.
Didn't Neil Young come back right after?
He came crawling back because Spotify is the biggest payout he's got, right? So, I mean, they all talk big, but they're basically, this is the activist mentality. They want to use the platform. And 99% of the time, if it's your platform, you can use it for politics if you wish, if it's your platform, but it's not your platform. These people misunderstand the working relationship. They work for a company.
It's not even they're part of the platform. It's not like, this is my page on a platform. They want companies that are tech companies to outright, call up the government officials and all this other stuff as if they could, some of them can, but like they're not going to listen, and call them up and demand this because their employee said so. It's not like the same thing as having like Joni Mitchell had music on here, so they have their music they can control. This is like, I want to go to my boss and tell them they have to do what I want.
So this is what they're pissed about. Okay, they said their calls have more urgency following the attendance of Amazon, AMD, Apple, and Zoom execs at a White House screening of the Melania Trump documentary.
Oh yes, I knew about that. Yes.
So they're not happy about it. I mean, it's like Axios reached out to more than a dozen top tech companies on the potential use of their technology and protest surveillance and executives' attendance of the documentary screening.
So fucking what? They're not related. One thing's about a documentary, and then the other thing's about, companies, about their tech. And it's like a lot of it's proprietary. They're not going to tell you shit anyway. And the other thing is you don't get to tell companies how they can and can't use their tech. And it sucks because sometimes they're using it for really shitty things, but that's not their place.
Representatives from Amazon, Anthropic, Apple, Google, IBM, Meta, OpenAI, and Salesforce did not even reply to requests for comment.
No, and before, a lot of those companies you're mentioning were the first ones to be like, BLM on everything. You know what I mean?
A Microsoft representative told Axios the company was looking into the matter, but did not comment further.
Shut them up.
We'll look into it. Sure. Leave us alone. Tech executives during Trump's second term have instead shown up frequently to be seen alongside the president and boost his policies. There are a couple. I don't know who have. Okay, Meta's former chief AI scientist spoke out. Let's see, Box CEO Aaron Levy, Google DeepMind chief scientist and computer scientist Paul Graham, they spoke out against it.
But again, what's the difference between speaking out in your personal thing and representing the whole company?
Right. So the bottom line, a common refrain on social media has been that tech leaders are vocal about policies around wealth taxes and regulations they don't like, but are silent now. Well, this is why. So this was actually coming from Harvard. Harvard said that corporations have been bitten in the ass by getting too political. They said examples, again, Harvard, guys.
Remember that
Harvard.
Shut Up brand? There's a reason why.
Examples of political posturing are everywhere. Hundreds of corporations proclaim their support for Black Lives Matter. Dozens publicly oppose the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe v. Wade. Coca-Cola and Delta prominently criticized Georgia's restrictive voting laws. Disney took a stand against Don't Say Gay. Today, we know where corporations stand on almost every politically contentious issue. A lot of them lost money. Most of them lost money. Anytime they took a hard line on something, they lost money. They said there are several reasons corporations suddenly develop political views. Activist employees and investors began to call for companies to take a stand. Corporations obliged not only to quell these voices, but to use politics in a way to market their products. Gillette ran an advertising campaign.
It bit them in the ass.
Yep. That bit them in the ass. See also Bud Light. I mean, that's probably one of the most infamous examples. Target. So many companies ran headfirst into the wood chipper by getting overly political. They said the campaign, sought to use politics to sell razors rather than the razor's attributes. Corporations are also trapped in a collective action problem where they fear that if they fail to take a position, they will lose ground to competitors that do. Social media, where taking a stance is the only way to get noticed, and silence is denounced as complicity, amplifies these effects.
It's biting them in the ass.
It is biting them in the ass. They're talking about Bud Light specifically, Disney specifically, that they got political and they took a side, they took a stance, and they lost financially. And then a lot of times, in the rearview mirror, you got to ask, like, was it worth it? Was it worth losing? Like in Disney's case, they lost Reedy Creek. That was a huge L for them.
That was their. We can do anything we want because we own, or we it's elected, quote unquote. But everybody knew that they ran it. They even used their own lawyers to give out, supposedly to give out statements about when they were trying to overturn the Reedy Creek loss and everything else. It was just insane.
But it's they're calling on all the CEOs. They're Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook, Sundar Pichai from Google, Mark Zuckerberg. They all attended Trump's inauguration. That still chaps their ass that all those guys attended the inauguration. I thought it was very weird to see because this wouldn't have happened just a couple of years ago, right? But they're trying to contact everybody and say, hey, well, you have contracts with them. So let's see here. Palantir is one of ICE's most significant tech partners. Clearview AI signed a contract. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Oracle. They're not going to say shit because they don't want to jeopardize those contracts either.
No, yeah.
Let's
and
be
plus
honest.
The lawsuits for canceling them and things like that. There's this, it's not as easy as I'm just going to cancel this. There's usually like legal stuff around it. It's like you can't just like up and cancel it.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I think we're living in a very different time. And again, you are allowed to feel however you want to feel about
And
things.
CEOs are allowed to say things publicly on their own personal things. I mean, just because freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequence, doesn't mean it won't bite them in the ass. They're free to do that, but they can't, like, as a company, be going out there. I mean, they could, but they've learned it's stupid.
You have a fiduciary duty to your shareholders to maximize profit and revenue for the company. And if you do something that could knowingly harm the company, it doesn't matter how many fist bumps you get from your employees. They might not be your employees if you get gone or they get gone because the company takes a hit, right? And again, you can feel however you want to feel, but you got to kind of separate that. Now, if it's privately owned company, if it's your company, you can say whatever the hell you want to say. And if you get backlash for that, that's a different thing. But when you're the head of a corporation, a major corporation, billions and billions of dollars on the line, and these, again, they're gun shy because they've seen this go down so many times in the past where they were pressured into saying something and it bit them in the ass. That's why they're not doing it. You know, I mean, it's very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting couple of years, I think, because these activist employees that get into these companies thinking they're going to force the company to be their mouthpiece, I think they're in for a very rude awakening. And these are the people that are going to get laid off first. And this is why I think that all the AI layoffs and stuff are happening. It's to get rid of these people. That's my personal
I think so too, and I think pushing it isn't going to help you. It's just going to cause you to have a target. And people don't, and companies that are smart, stay out of it. I mean, and then the rest of you guys, make your own opinion. You know, you can have your opinion either way on which side you're on in this situation. We're not going to tell you what to think. That's not our job. But I will tell companies, you know, stay out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, you're not going to gain anything from it.
Nope.
People can protest in their own free time as long as it's not violating company policy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
All right. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.